how language grounds us between cultures as well as between memory and the future, I thought of some young people whose poetry I heard several months ago. They're part of a community center in Seattle, Washington called El Centro de la Raza, the Center for the People. Founded 30 years ago by a young upstart named Roberto Maestas, the center is still around, still breaking down barriers of race and class, still feeding the hungry, teaching English as a second language, and helping Latino children and parents discover new things about themselves through the power of words. Nothing earth-shaking, mind you. No miracles have been cited in Seattle, but they are celebrating the center's 30th anniversary this month, and that, given the odds, is something. Happy anniversary, El Centro.
This is the home for the left out, the locked out, the people with noble intentions, and the people who want friendship and love, and maybe a small bowl of tortillas or enchiladas or caldo de res.
Young people like Elisa Maria Miranda learn to read and write poetry, to find the words for their own version of roots.
We walked like the cement had carried us. Gritos of huelga drying our mouths as yellow grass. Huelga from the growers' dangerous fields and cold homes. As we marched, I held a sign of a little girl standing in her dirty river that she calls home.
Poetry has become a powerful weapon for our children, for the adults, for our elders, and we are constantly looking for the natural inclination of human beings to be poetic.
Here's El Centro's Roberto Maestas as a much younger radical. He grew up in this neighborhood, had dreams of a gathering place for the dispossessed. Down the street was a deserted 3-story school building.
Seattle was in a deep economic, social, political crisis. The war was grinding away at the fabric of our nation. We decided to find a home, create a home. We tried to convince the authorities to build a community center that would address the needs of the most left out, most locked out. We asked that they show us the building. We pretended we were interested developers, and we asked them to open the building up for us. They opened the door. I took the lock, put it in my pocket, and we've had it ever since.
Hundreds of people came from all over. They came to see if they could help make this community center work. A deal was struck with the city and school board. The vacant Beacon Hill School became El Centro de la Raza.
Yes, like that. You just do a little thing like that, and that's 6.
¿La quieres en español o en inglés?
I'm going to stick on the back.
The job really started the day we won. And now that we have this huge building, what do we do and how do we do it?
Today it houses a child development center, trains people to run small businesses, sponsors art exhibits, poetry workshops, conferences, and keeps urging everyone who shows up, young and old, to stand and be counted.
I always tell people that I'm a generation away from being in the fields. My grandparents, my parents, all my aunts and uncles were all migrant farm workers. So I never forget that.
You guys remember about Jose Marti?
Yeah.
Who can tell me who was Jose Marti? Who remembers?
A hero.
Like Martin Luther King. Like Martin Luther King.
Who was Martin Luther King? Luther King, Luther King. He was a man that had a dream that we should all be free. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
I think the most important thing that we can do is to invite them, convince them that they are valuable and important.
Also in the boat.
Cabinet. It's a season, right? ¿Por qué? Why?
We have learned to use language to define our terms, to express ourselves, and to bring out of our children the noblest and most beautiful sentiments that human beings have. That's how powerful language can be.
We once wore rainbows that curved out of hidden realms, arcs of tradition around our necks, showering spectrums, streams of shades. We wore the offspring of rain. We wore rainbows like cloth, like war paint spread across cheeks, like juice stains on children's mouths, thorns on kings, halos on angels, like do-rags and old t-shirts and bandanas. Today, we don't wear rainbows like we used to. Children don't slide down them or use them like frisbees. Now they hide behind cities, on top of gasoline stains, on clean glass in people's eyes, on dirty puddles. They reflect on the back of CDs if you hold them sideways. They hide between mountains, behind sprinklers on suburb lawns, on silverware in restaurants, at home in mom's garden, in clubs on strobe lights off diamonds, acid trips, carnivals, and city blocks. Yo, but it's not like we're less now because we don't wear rainbows.
But the constant for our children is to be kind and loving and generous, to be forgiving, to learn from each other, to be open about each other's ideas, to respect each other, whether they agree or not, to never use violence and aggression.
We're practically the same now that we don't wear rainbows. Think about it. I got a cell phone, you got a cell phone, little kids got cell phones, grandmothers, grandfathers, squirrels, and barbers got cell phones. Maybe cell phones are the reincarnation of rainbows.
2 books of poems by these young people have been published to considerable acclaim.
No shoes, socks, or warm clothes, standing in her dirty river. I wish I could hold the little muñeca that cooked her food by a campfire, stored and kept it cool by an ice chest, bathing, drinking, and washing in her dirty river. She may have the pleasure of a tent at night, or simply a cardboard house and a dirt floor. Families hungry, cold, and sick, standing in her dirty river, only to get up before the sun rose, to work in poisoned land, pesticides poisoning the food and the people. I could just picture the little girl that stands in her dirty river, watching our people bent over, whipped by the sun and its long hours. $3 a day for picking fruits and vegetables in the land of the free. Rows and rows of these families down these riverbanks and down these fields, staining my mind like grape juice on a white shirt.
El Centro de la Raza may be the only organization in America to receive the Reagan-Bush 1,000 Points of Light Award and the Anniversary Medal of the Sandinista Revolution in Nicaragua. As we say, nothing earth-shaking here. No miracles, that is, to the naked eye.
Next week on Now, big business paying big money for exclusive deals to public schools.
There is a very sophisticated and aggressive marketing plan targeted to children.
Are kids being hurt by the rush to sell inside schools? Next week on Now.